Hey, boys and girls, I am feeling better and I hope you are having a great week. We have been apart for a week and it's been a long week. I have missed you and I cannot wait to see you after fall break. I hope you guys are staying safe and staying well. And I have a book I want to share with you today and also have a math word problem for us to do together today. So I hope you guys are logging into Seesaw and I hope you're working on your packet. And then after next week, you will have a week off for fall break. And I hope you get to do something super fun. Today, I'm going to read a book called Little Flower. Little Flower. Hope you can see this. This is my first time doing this. The author is Gloria Rand and the illustrator is R.W. Alley. This is our title page. Miss Pearl was proud of Little Flower, her pot-bellied pig. Little Flower is so smart, Miss Pearl told her neighbors. She has learned to do a funny trick. Watch. Play dead, Little Flower. Little Flower rolled into her back and stuck her small feet straight up in the air. That's not at all funny, said Mrs. Pearl's next-door neighbor, Mr. Haichu. Mrs. Haichu was not amused either. I don't know about you, but if I saw a pot-bellied pig playing dead, I might be a little amused. But the other neighbors thought that Little Flower's trick was very funny. They said she was quite a remarkable pig. As for Little Flower, she quickly learned that whenever she wanted attention, all she had to do was play dead. One day, Miss Pearl slipped and fell on her kitchen floor. She hurt her hip. She could not get up. Help! Help! She cried, but nobody heard her. She was desperate. From where she lay on the floor, Miss Pearl began to throw whatever she could reach. She managed to break out a window with a heavy candlestick. Now maybe someone would hear her calling for help. The crashing and calls for help frightened Little Flower. She headed for the old doggy door that she had used when she was a tiny piglet. Little Flower groaned and snorted as she tried to squeeze through the small opening. Finally, bruised and tired, she managed to push herself out the door. She flopped down on the front porch, rolled onto her back, and played dead. Surely someone would notice her, but no one did. She tried again. This time, Little Flower played dead by the garden gate. No one noticed her there either. She hurried back into the house. Miss Pearl was still lying on the floor. Little Flower, huffing and puffing, quickly went back outside. Little Flower ran out into the middle of the street. She played dead one more time. A car screeched to a stop, and a young man got out. Hey, what's wrong? He asked Little Flower, who had gotten to her feet. I thought you were hurt. Does your owner know you're loose? Little Flower trotted back into Miss Pearl's garden. The young man followed, and he knocked on the door. I'm in here! I need help, Miss Pearl called in a weak voice. The young man opened the door, and there was Miss Pearl lying on the floor. He covered her with a blanket and assured her that she was going to be fine. Then he dialed 911. I found a woman lying injured on her kitchen floor, he reported. She lives in a small yellow cottage that's between Willow Way and Spruce Street. Please hurry. With lights flashing and sirens howling, an ambulance arrived. The emergency medical technicians dashed inside. Soon, Miss Pearl's neighbors came running from every direction. What's going on? Mr. Haichu asked. He was very upset. Why didn't Miss Pearl call one of us for help? His wife asked. Everyone wondered what the trouble was. After a short time, Miss Pearl was wheeled out on a stretcher. Is he going to be all right? Several neighbors asked the technicians. "Everything's okay," was their polite reply. "Please stand back." "You too," one technician told Little Flower, who had flopped down as close to Miss Pearl's stretcher as he could get. "Oh, Little Flower," Miss Pearl reached out to pat her pet pig. "I can't leave you." "Yes, you can," Mr. Hatchew said. "We'll all look after her until you come back." Taking care of Little Flower was not easy. She missed Miss Pearl so much she wouldn't eat. Not even jelly donuts, which were her favorite treat. "Come on, cheer up," Miss Hatchew said, and offered Little Flower a chocolate candy. "Miss Pearl's getting better, and she'll be coming home soon." Of course, Little Flower didn't understand what Miss Hatchew was saying. But a few days later, when neighbors started to arrive at the cottage with beautiful flowers and delicious-smelling food, Little Flower perked up. She even trotted around happily as other neighbors decorated the front gate with colorful ribbons and balloons. "Let's dress you up with a ribbon too." Miss Hatchew tied a big bow around Little Flower's neck. "You want to look your best for Miss Pearl's homecoming, don't you?" "Miss Pearl has always taken care of you, and when she needed help, you took care of her," Mr. Hatchew told Little Flower. "You're a real hero." All the neighbors smiled. They thought so too. Little Flower stood proudly waiting for Miss Pearl to return. She certainly was a remarkable pig. Okay, let's talk about our story, Little Flower. Who were the characters in the story? Do you remember? I'll give you a second to think about it. Do you remember now? The characters are the people or the animals that are in the story. So, this story had both Mr. Hatchew, Miss Hatchew, Mrs. Pearl, and the little pig. If you really want to go into great detail, the neighbors and the ambulance technicians, all of those people were also characters in the story. The main character would be Mrs. Pearl and Little Flower. Those two names are very important for you to remember when you're retelling a story. Hope you guys have been reading stories at home. If you don't have books at home, you can go to the Mount Pleasant Public Library and check out books for free. It's free to get a library card. My girls love to go to the public library. Miss April is the librarian there. She has all kinds of books. Now, Miss Lawson has lots of books in our library. These books at the Mount Pleasant Public Library, where my girls go, these books can be checked out. I know right now Miss Lawson's books are on hold right now because we're trying to keep the germs down at school, but Miss April at the library will let you check out any book you want if you get a library card. So go see Miss April. Now, okay, so after we tell the characters, we should tell the setting. You remember the setting? Okay, that's where the story takes place. Well, sometimes there's different places in the story. This mostly took place at Miss Pearl's house, and some on the front porch and in the road, but mostly at her house, inside her house. Now here's something I hope you were listening for. The problem. What's the problem in the story? The problem is a conflict, something that's wrong. Did something happen in this story that might have caused a problem? It did. Mrs. Pearl fell. That's a problem. She needed help. If she fell down and she couldn't get up, that's a problem. So, if you were listening, you would have heard me say Mrs. Pearl slipped, and when she did, she hurt her hip and she couldn't get up. So she yelled and she hollered and no one would come help her. That's a problem if you live alone and no one can come help you. Every story should have a beginning, middle, end, character, setting, problem, and solution. Those things should be retold when you retell a story. So if you're reading in your Read at Home folder, your Read Every Day folder, I hope you're retelling those stories. When we read poems at school, we work on retelling, and I have missed reading poems with you, and I can't wait to get back with you guys so we can do that together in class. So this book is called Little Flower. I actually checked this out from the Mount Pleasant Public Library, and we read it together. So cool. So glad I could read this with you guys. Retell the characters, setting. The problem was Miss Pearl fell. What would the solution be? Giving you guys a second to think about it. The solution will be that little flower got help. She tried and tried to get help. She laid on the porch, no one would come. She had to squeeze through the little doggy door. And then finally she laid in the road and someone stopped and helped. And then he called 911. So that's part of the solution as well. He got additional help on the scene. And then you would retell the beginning, middle, and end. Well, what happened first? What happened first is Miss Pearl had a little pig that she taught to play dead, which in the end helped save her life. In the middle of the story is where we found the problem, where Mrs. Pearl fell and broke her hip and she needed the help and she cried and cried, but no one came. And then we see the solution start to unfold where little flower lays in the road and little flower gets attention from a neighbor. And then finally at the end, we see the ambulance come and the neighbors take care of the pig until she can get back to her home. So that was a great story. It had a great problem and solution and a great beginning, middle, end, and characters and setting. And maybe when you guys get back to school and Miss Lawson can let her books go out of the library, maybe you can check this one out, Little Flower. Now I have a math problem we're going to do. Mary had 10 marbles. If 3 marbles were red, how many marbles would be blue? Okay, so first of all, Mary had 8 marbles. 8 is the whole, and 3 is the part. We know that 3 of her marbles are red. I'm looking for the part that's blue. If I mark out 3 marbles, this is the missing part, 5. I can use 2 addition sentences. 5 plus 3 equals 8, and 3 plus 5 equals 8. Because I can add the blue and the red marbles together to make the total amount of marbles that she had. And then I could also subtract to find the answer. If I have 8 marbles minus 3, because that's the part that were red, it gives me 5, the part that's blue. And 8 minus 5, which is the part that were blue, still leaves 3 that were red, which is what we knew in the problem. Sometimes math is real simple if you just read the problem and plug in the numbers where they go. That's important. You must plug them in correctly. The 8, because it's the whole, will always go first when you subtract. But the 8 will always go at the end when you add. The number bond will always have the biggest number in the whole, and the 2 small parts will be in the parts. I hope you enjoyed our little lesson today. And maybe on Seesaw you can write me a comment if you liked our lesson. If you want to see another book, maybe I could find another book that I could read at my house. I have Curious George, Bernstein Bears, lots of little girl books because we have 2 girls. I have books about princesses. So maybe you guys could tell me something you've been reading at your house. Or I would love if you drew a picture of Little Flower and Miss Pearl, and you could tell me about the story, the problem and the solution. Did you like the story? You could write a sentence about her little pig. Would you want a pet pig? That's a great sentence. You could tell me, yes, you would want a pet pig, or no, you would not. I hope you guys enjoyed our time together today, and I hope to see you soon. Stay safe and stay well.